I get excited every time I hear that show open. It is day 11 of 25 days of visibility. I'm Rashonda Pratt, visibility and communication strategist. So glad that you are here, whether you've been with us since the very beginning or this is day one. I'm particularly excited about today's topic because it comes from a conversation that we had yesterday. And I asked you guys to post your questions or comments, and someone posted a question. And today it is the topic of our discussion: how to curate your network. I think so many times in these digital streets that we can get on social media, especially on LinkedIn, and treat LinkedIn like Facebook and Facebook like LinkedIn. And we just don't want to be collecting bodies or collecting numbers to say we have 7,500 connections. No, we want to be in the space to be in front of our ideal client, in front of the people that we want to do life and business with. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. If you are watching live, do me a favor right now in the comment section. Let me know that you're watching live and where you're watching from. If you are in the replay audience, how do you know that you are in the replay? Because there is not a red live button near the top of my head. So that lets you know that you are in the replay, but you are still a part of this experience. And I am glad that you are here. So make sure to use hashtag replay so that way I can see you and I can shout you out. So let's get started. Yesterday, we talked about how to build real relationships in digital spaces. We talked about the daily 10 strategy, moving from broadcasting to people to really connecting to build advocates instead of just collecting followers. And I got a question from someone right here who's been joining us live that was really good. And I knew that it had to be the topic of today's episode. So today's question is for you, Dorothy, and everyone who's watching this live and in the replay. Dorothy asked this question, and I'm going to read it in part. What to do when the posts attract random people? Then at times they want to connect, or when I comment on a post on someone that I'm connected with, because of my comment, they want to connect. But specifically, they're nothing more to me than a friend of a friend and won't better my quality of life, or their profession doesn't align with my professional background. They're just a tag along like a kite. I understand and not against people with different professional backgrounds as me. However, like a lot of my connections, they're just collecting dust. Some in the past were mutual intentions and was from other connections. I know you were saying to grow our connections up to 5,000, but maybe that doesn't suit everyone. Besides, it does take up digital space. Also, there's not enough time in the day, the week, the month to connect with everyone with a large volume of people. I believe it's important to have careful consideration and intention on who to follow and connect. Dorothy, thank you so much for that question, because this is the question so many leaders are asking and feel guilty about. What I believe that you're really saying, Dorothy, is, Rashonda, how do I say no to connection requests without feeling bad about it? How do I curate my network instead of just collecting everyone who asks? What do I do with the 2,000 connections I have who are just collecting dust? Great questions. And so it is the topic of today's discussion: how to curate your network, how to be selective in your connection request. Number one, you don't owe anyone a LinkedIn connection. You don't owe them a connection. Your network is not a collection. Your network really is strategy. And so if someone doesn't fit your strategy, you are allowed, no, you are supposed to say no. And today I'm teaching you how to curate your network so you get the kind of content that you want to see. I really believe the reason why, and I'm going to do a video about this, that people are so unhappy being on the Blue app is because they've accepted a lot of connection requests and they're seeing things in their news feed that really don't make them happy to start their day. Or people that, you know what, I wouldn't really have a conversation with this person, or we don't really have anything in common. So today I want to teach you how to be selective, how to say no without guilt, and how to clean up your digital house if your network is already cluttered. So this is Curate Your Network, the art of selective connection. So if you are ready, drop a fiery emoji right now in the comment section. Yep, right now, drop it and let me know that you are ready to go. This is a good time also for you to tag another leader, another business owner, your business bestie, and invite them to this conversation. So let me tell you what I see happening with most leaders and their networks. You know, I love to give you guys a breakdown, build a picture so you can understand. So scenario number one is the open door policy. Early in your career, someone told you network with everyone. You never know who might be able to help you. So you said yes to every connection request. Someone engaged with your post, connect. Friend of a friend, connect. Random person who sent a generic message, connect. And now you have 2,000 plus connections. But here's the problem. You don't talk to 95% of them. You don't engage with their content. You don't even remember half of them. You don't even know who they are. They're just there collecting dust. And every time you open up LinkedIn, your feed is cluttered with content from people you don't care about, talking about topics that don't really matter to you. You're drowning in digital noise. Scenario number two is the guilt trap. I was here, okay? Someone sends you a connection request. You look at their profile. Let's see. Okay. You don't know them. You have nothing in common. They're not strategic for you. But you think, what if I offend them? What if they're connected to someone important? What if I miss an opportunity? So you accept. And now you have one person in your network who you'll never engage with, who takes up space in your feed, who dilutes your strategic focus. You said yes out of guilt and not strategy. Scenario number three, the overwhelm. You're trying to implement the daily 10 from yesterday's episode, but when you open LinkedIn, you are overwhelmed. Which 10 people do I engage with when I have 2,000 connections? Your feed is full of random content from random people. You can't find the strategic people you actually want to engage with. Your network is so cluttered, you can't even use it strategically. Which one are you? One, two, or three? Now, remember, in this space, there's no guilt. This is not about feeling guilty or condemnation. This is about recognizing where you are so that way you know how you need to move forward. This is what this is about. And here's the truth that Dorothy is saying. She's right. 5,000 connections doesn't suit everyone. In fact, it doesn't suit most people because most people don't have the time, the energy, the bandwidth, the strategy to manage 5,000 connections. Here's what I need you to hear. Everyone is teaching you to grow your network. I'm teaching you how to curate your network because growth without curation is clutter, and clutter always kills strategy. So before I give you the framework, I need to really give you permission. Permission to say no, permission to be selective, and permission to remove people from your network. And as we close out one chapter and start a new chapter, a new year, this is the perfect time to do this. Because I know some of you feel guilty about this. You think, but what if I seem elitist? What if I offend people? What if I'm closing doors? Well, let me be clear. You're not an elitist for you're not an elitist for curating your professional network. LinkedIn is not Facebook. This is not your social life. This is about your professional network. And your professional network should serve your professional goals. So if someone doesn't fit your strategy, you don't owe them a connection. You don't owe anyone access to your professional network. When I started the first go round on LinkedIn, One of the things that I had to be very careful of is who I accepted friend requests from, because people could see at the time that I was working in television, that I was a television news producer. And I knew for a lot of people, they were just sending me that connection request because of where I work. Not because they truly were trying to build a relationship. They were trying to use me to get to the news director or use me to get to an anchor. And how did I discover that? By randomly accepting requests and then people in my inbox asking me, can I have such and such contact information? I'm applying for a job. True story. So you don't owe anyone access to your professional network. This is what you have created. This is what your integrity and your professionalism and relationship building, being very intentional about relationship, has created. And you can't just give that over to anyone. Not friends of friends, not people who engage with one post, not random people who send you generic connection requests. Your network is a strategy, not a collection. And every yes to a random connection is a no to your strategic connections getting your time and your attention. So here's your permission. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to decline connection requests. You are allowed to remove people from your network. You are allowed to curate. Now, let's talk about how. It is the Selective Connection Framework. I love a framework because it gives me guidance and guardrails. Because I think for a lot of us, we need boundaries in social media about who we say yes to. And so this is really going to help you decide who gets into your network and who doesn't. And so there are 5 parts. It's number 1, the 3 connection filter. When I share this with you, it's going to sound familiar, especially if you're with us on day 10. Number 2, what to do with dust collector connections. Number 3, how to decline requests without guilt. Number 4, how to clean house. And number 5, how to maintain a curated network. So number 1, every time you get a connection request, run it through these 3 filters. Okay? I want you to ask yourself this question. Do they fit into one of my 3 types? Remember this from day 10? Peer, someone at my level that I can learn from and with. 2, an advocate, someone who can refer me or amplify my work. 3, audience, someone who can become a client. If the answer is no to all 3, decline or ignore. Yes, they may be a great person, but they don't fit one of your 3 types. It's not strategic for you. So for example, a random person sends you a connection request. You look at their profile, not in your industry, so they're not a peer. Not someone who would refer you, so they're not an advocate, and they're not in your target market. They're not your audience. Decision, decline, no guilt. Filter number 2, the mutual value test. So ask yourself this question: can I add value to them? And can they add value to me? Because here's the thing that you need to know. The person who's sending you the request is doing this same thing as well. So can I add value to them? And can they add value to me? So strategic connections that are mutual. If it's one-sided, you can help them, but they can't help you, or vice versa. It's not strategic. So for example, someone wants to connect because they want to pick your brain. Did you see my eye roll? Oh, I just do not like picking brain. It hurts, right? You look at their profile, they have nothing you need, no expertise you're really interested in, no network that helps, no potential to become a client. They want to take value, not exchange value. It's a decline. Or in my best Randy Jackson impression from American Idol, it's a no for me, dog. You're not a free consulting service for random people on LinkedIn or any social media platform. Filter number 3, the capacity test. Ask yourself, seriously, do I have the bandwidth to build relationship with this person? Remember, your daily 10 focuses on 20 strategic people. So if you're already at capacity with your strategic 20, is this new person worth shifting your focus? So for example, someone interested wants to connect. They fit the strategic alignment test. They pass the mutual value test. But you're already building a relationship with 20 strategic people. Do you have bandwidth for 21? If yes, accept and add them to your strategic 20 rotation. If no, politely decline. I appreciate the connection request, but I'm at capacity with network right now. Feel free to follow my content and I'll do the same for you. Listen, you are allowed to protect your capacity. And while I'm talking to you, I am preaching to myself. Seriously. So here's a recap of the 3 filters. Before you accept any connection request, ask, do they fit in one of my 3 types? That's strategic alignment. 2, can we mutually exchange value? Okay, mutual value. And 3, do I have capacity to engage with them? Capacity, that's my word for 2026 too. If no to any of these, decline. Your network is not tragedy. Your network is not charity. It's a strategy. Your network is not a charity. It's strategy. So what do you do? Because Dorothy in her question talked about having a list of people that she's connected with, and now they just become dust collectors. What do you do about the people already in your network who are collecting dust? Well, you have 3 options. Option number 1, this is pretty aggressive. It's the audit. It's maybe time to go through your connections, and you can really do this quarterly. Remove people who don't fit in the 3 filters you haven't interacted with within the last 12 plus months, or just clutter your feed with content you don't care about. I'm actively doing this on one social media platform. And so how do you do this? You go to your connections list and sort by recently added or alphabetically. Go through 50 at a time and ask, does this person fit my 3 types? If no, remove. It's not personal, it's strategic, and you are allowed to clean house. Option 2 is the ignore strategy. So this is pretty moderate. You don't have to remove them, but you don't engage with them either. Just because someone is in your network doesn't mean you owe them attention. I wanted to pause there. Focus your daily 10 on your strategic 20. Let everyone else exist in the background. Your feed will still be cluttered, but you're choosing where to focus your attention. And option 3 is the archive mindset. Some connections are dormant, not dead. They might not be strategic now, but they could be later. So for example, someone in your adjacent industry who might become strategic if you pivot. Leave them connected, but don't engage. Think of them as archived, not active, not deleted, just there. This works if your network isn't already too cluttered. So which one do you choose? Well, it really depends on how cluttered your network is. If you have 500 connections and 300 are dust, it may be time to do option 1, which is audit and remove. If you have 2,000 connections and 1,500 are dust, it may be time to do option 2, which is ignore, or option 3, archive. It really is based upon what you have the bandwidth to sit down, not be distracted, because all of this is about not being distracted and focus. So Dorothy, based upon your question, I would recommend for you option 1 or option 2. You just need to actively curate, not just passively ignore. So how do you decline requests without feeling guilty? And this is the part that most people struggle with. How do I actually say no to a connection request? Well, let me give you 4 scenarios and how to handle each. Scenario 1 is a random person, no context, just a generic message. Hi, Dorothy. I'd love to connect. What do? Ignore. Don't even decline, just ignore. You don't owe them an explanation. I have a ton of those just sitting there. Scenario 2, friend of a friend, no strategic alignment. Someone you have a mutual connection with, but they don't fit your 3 types. What do? Option A, ignore. Option B, send a polite message. I did this yesterday. Thanks for reaching out. I'm keeping my network focused on specific area right now. So I'm being selective with new connections. I appreciate the interest. You don't owe them a connection just because you have a mutual friend. And let me just talk about this. If someone is a mutual friend and they sent you to connect with someone, say that. I think so many times it's just easy to hit the connection request button on LinkedIn. I've done this several times and really not say, wait a minute, let me send a note. Let me be intentional in this connection request. Hey, Dorothy told me that you would be a good person to connect with in this way. I would love for us to build, a network or relationship of that sort. So be intentional in even the messages you send to people to connect. In scenario 3, someone who engaged with your content but isn't strategic. So they commented on your post a few times. Now they want to connect, but they don't fit your 3. What to do? I appreciate you engaging with my content. I'm keeping my connections focused on specific criteria right now, but feel free to continue following and engaging with my post. Engagement doesn't equal automatic connection. It doesn't. And scenario 3, they keep asking after you decline. So for example, you declined once, they sent another request with a message of would love to connect. What to do? Ignore or block. You already said no. Again, you don't have to offer them or owe them a second explanation. So here's the key. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to apologize. You don't need to feel guilty. No is a complete sentence. Put that in the comments. No is a complete sentence. Don't feel bullied into accepting someone's request. You don't have to do that. So if your network is already cluttered, here's how you can clean it up really quickly. Week 1, audit your last 50 connections. Go through your most recent 50 connections and ask, do they fit my 3 types? If no, remove. Week 2, audit your next 50 connections. Repeat. Week 3, next 50, repeat. By the end of the month, you would have audited about 200 connections. Do this quarterly and your network stays curated. Now, what do you do if you offend someone? You may be asking that question. You won't. Most people won't even notice. And LinkedIn doesn't notify people when you remove them. Whew. And if they do notice and they're offended, they're not someone you want in your network anyway. And them being offended is their emotions for them to own. It has nothing to do with you. If someone is offended that you're curating your professional network strategically, they don't understand business. So, how do you maintain this? Once your network is curated, here's how to keep it that way. Set your connection criteria. Write it down. Seriously, I only connect with people who fit one of my 3 types: peer, advocate, audience, can exchange mutual value, I have capacity to engage with. 2, run every request through the 3 filters. Don't accept requests impulsively. Take 30 seconds to run it through the filter. If it passes, accept. If it doesn't, decline or ignore. And 3, audit quarterly. Every 3 months, audit 50 to 100 connections. Remove people who are no longer strategic. Protect your capacity. Your daily 10 is your 20 strategic people. Don't dilute your focus by saying yes to everyone. So remember, this is the Selective Connection Framework. The 3 connection filters: what to do with dust collectors, audit, ignore, or archive; declining requests with no guilt and no explanation needed; cleaning house 50 connections at a time with a quarterly audit; and maintaining is by setting a criteria, boundaries, filtering every request so you can protect your capacity. Remember, your network is a strategy, not a collection. So I would love to hear what the big aha moment was for you today. Dorothy, I would love to hear from you how this supported you and did this give you a framework. So your assignment is to start to clean house, to start to implement some of the things that I shared with you today. So that way you're going into the new year with a curated professional network. Now, that's day 11. Dorothy, thank you so much for the question. We really appreciated it. And this is exactly what people needed to hear. So I want you to make sure to do your connection audit. Remember, set your criteria and start saying no. Remember, your network is a strategy, not a collection. You don't owe anyone a connection. You are allowed to be selective. You are allowed to curate. Stop collecting and start curating, being intentional about the relationships that you are creating. So tomorrow is day 12 in our 25 days of visibility. Day 12, we're talking about storytelling without the cringe. Some of you may be super uncomfortable with telling your story, but your story is so powerful and so necessary. So we're going to talk about how to tell a story without it feeling cringy. I can't wait to see you for day 12. This is 25 days of visibility LiveMas. And you guys have been absolutely amazing. If you have a question, just like Dorothy, listen, post it in the comment section and tag me. You might be the topic of our next live stream. So I would love to see you. See you next time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Talk to you soon.